What's up, guys? Andrew Cooper here. Coop Scoops. We're talking about wide receivers lately. Last week we talked about how to get the right balance of upside and floor on your team so you can make it through and have those upside guys to win, but you don't bleed games in the beginning of the year because you don't have enough guys to start in your lineup, right? So this week I wanted to talk to you about another topic: when it's okay to draft the third wide receiver on a team. And basically, there's two situations where I'm in favor of it. One is a low floor, high upside play. The other is more of a safe, medium floor, but kind of a capped ceiling play, right? So for the upside play, situations where I'm drafting the third wide receiver on a team is when we don't know for sure how it's going to shake out, who's going to be in the pecking order. The best example would be a couple of years ago when Matt Rule came to the Panthers. Everyone thought DJ Moore was the top dog. They were fading Robbie Anderson, fading Curtis Samuel. Then it turned out that Robbie Anderson was actually one of the top guys, and Curtis Samuel got a bunch of carries. It was a little more evenly split where DJ Moore did not live up to his ADP. The other guys smashed theirs, right? Uncertainty is our friend in those situations, right? So for these upside plays, I'm looking at situations where we don't know for sure who's going to be the top guy. I mean, a great example is the Jaguars. Brand new offense. They bring in Christian Kirk. They have Marvin Jones. They have Laviska Shenault, right? We don't know who they're going to lean into just yet, right? So we don't want to spend up too much on the top guy. Why not take a stab on the third guy? In this case, Laviska Shenault is going like wide receiver 92 in best ball underdog drafts. This is a guy who kind of fell behind a little bit, but his best comparable player on Player Profiler is AJ Brown, and he plays really physical. He plays like a Deebo Samuel type guy. So if he can carve out a role, I mean, at wide receiver 92, you can't really miss. So that's one example. Another one would be, say, the Jets. Right, we look at it, and people like Elijah Moore, people like Garrett Wilson, and Corey Davis kind of fallen by the wayside. But Corey Davis plays split end, which is an important real-life position. It gets you on the field, and he was a top 10 run blocker in the league last year, which we know Robert Saleh is big on that kind of offense, right? This guy led the team in targets before he got hurt, and he's going off the board at wide receiver 70. Since we don't know how it's going to shake out, and he's the veteran, there's the young guys there, why not take a stab at him late? In your regular drafts, we're talking about your very last pick, a guy that you're probably going to drop to waivers anyway if he doesn't do anything. But with the uncertainty, this guy has a chance to be something big. But again, he also has the low floor if they just go with the young guns and kind of phase him out of the offense. So that's why that's kind of a high risk, high reward situation. Now, the other example is the safe guy with a kind of cap ceiling as the third wide receiver. In those situations, it's less uncertain. We know who the top dogs are, but the team has a chance to throw a lot of passes, and they use a lot of three wide receiver sets. Perfect example for that would be the Los Angeles Rams, right? Last year, they used three or more wide receivers on 88% of the snaps. There were times like week 12 where all three wide receivers played over 95% of the snaps. They were on the field the whole game, right? So in this situation right now, you have a guy like Van Jefferson, who he's a coach's kid. He's capable of big plays. He's probably going to be the third guy behind Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. Maybe he won't be, but he probably will be. But he's going to be on the field for every play, right? Unless they go out and sign Odell Beckham Jr. to bring him back, it looks like Van Jefferson's going to have that role, and he's going to play a decent amount. Now, he probably won't have a super high ceiling, but he's capable of spike weeks, and he'll be out there every single snap, right? So another example would be Kevin O'Connell, who is the offensive coordinator last year for the Rams, now becomes the head coach of the Vikings, right? They don't have the two tight ends anymore. No more Kyle Rudolph, no more Tyler Conklin. You're not going to see a situation like we see in Baltimore, where they have a fullback that plays on 50% or more of the snaps pretty much every play. They use two tight ends. Every time you bring a fullback in, every time you bring a tight end in, a wide receiver leaves the game. That's why that team, the Ravens, if you go back and look at it, they're never capable of having multiple good wide receivers because only one is playing a full snap share, really, right? So you want to avoid situations like that. The Vikings are seemingly moving away from that type of offense, and they're going to run Kevin O'Connell's new offense. I mean, think about why you bring in a Kevin O'Connell. They just won the Super Bowl using that offense. They're going to run that offense, and we just talked about how it uses three wide receivers every play. So KJ Osborn now becomes a guy that's likely going to play a huge chunk of snaps that he didn't get to play last year. I guess he did when Adam Thielen got hurt, but this is a guy that, they seem to like him. They didn't draft anybody or sign anybody, which speaks to the confidence in this player. And if you're worried about Adam Thielen's age, if you're that kind of person, I mean, I still like Adam Thielen, but if you're worried about his age and you're kind of fading Thielen, then why wouldn't you go in on KJ Osborn? Because the ball needs to go somewhere. If Thielen's not going to get his 25% target share that he typically gets, that means somebody's going to soak up a good amount of it. KJ Osborn could be that guy. And the last example I'll give you guys, I don't want to run this video too long, is the Cincinnati Bengals, right? We know what they want to do. That offense is locked in. Those guys, the quarterback, the wide receivers, now the tight end, the running back, those guys are all locked in for years, right? So we kind of know that Chase and Higgins are going to be the two top dogs. Tyler Boyd is going to play a good number of snaps. They don't use a fullback. Hayden Hurst is going to be the pass-catching tight end, and they might every once in a while go two tight ends with Drew Sample, but Drew Sample is not really a threat to targets. He's a blocking tight end, right? So Tyler Boyd might not play every single snap, but last year they used at least 3 wide receiver sets on over almost 80% of the snaps. So Tyler Boyd's going to be on the field. He's going to be a safe option. He's going to have his games. You know, he's a guy that can probably sneak into your lineup on underdog a bunch, really. And every once in a while, he's going to have big games. So if you're at the end of your draft, you got to think to yourself, did I go for a bunch of high upside guys early and I just need a couple safe guys like a Tyler Boyd or a Van Jefferson? Or do I want to shoot for the moon and try and go after a Laviska, Shenault, or a Corey Davis and hope that things shake out in my favor? Those are the questions you got to ask yourself at the end of underdog drafts. If you're not doing underdog drafts now, you got to get in there, man. Go to underdog, use promo code ALARM. They'll match up to $100 bonus first deposit. I do underdog instead of mock drafts at this point. I'm just in there doing all the different formats, figuring out where guys are going, what the ADP's like. That's the best way to get ready for the season. Jump in there now. All right, FA Nation. I'll talk to you.